We begin with breaking news at midday, a deadly plane crash in Augusta. The pilot was taking off from Daniel Field Airport and was the only person on board, according to officials. This video shows the aftermath at the intersection of Hillcrest Avenue and Belmont Drive. The plane crashed in the front of a yard of a home and just erupted in flames. Our live coverage starts now with our Hallie Turner joining us live from the scene. Hallie, you've been out there all morning since this plane crash happened. What's the situation right now on the ground?
Yeah, Zaina, other than the occasional planes flying over from Daniel Field, it's extremely quiet out here. And as you can see, the plane is still on scene. Parts of it remain on the ground. The engine, the wheels, everything of the aircraft are still out here. And Chief Burden from the fire department says it will stay here until the investigation by the National Transportation Safety Board is complete. Now, the FAA says the single-engine Beechcraft 36 crashed around 7:10 this morning. The call came into dispatch just 4 minutes later at 7:14. According to flight records, the plane had just taken off and was headed to New Haven, Connecticut. Chief Burden with the fire department tells us it's truly a miracle on the pilot's end of things that no homes were hit and that so many lives were spared. Several neighbors tell me they saw the plane flying low just seconds before it hit a tree and some power lines, creating a loud boom, followed by sparks and huge flames. Others say they thought someone was breaking into their home. But Lisa Lewis, who lives just a few doors down from where the plane crashed, says she knew the moment she heard the plane getting closer and closer, the unthinkable was happening.
What I saw, the flames were they were so tall. I mean, as tall as a second-story home, and the trees, I think, had caught fire, and you could smell the fuel. When they started spraying water on everything, it just then was like a huge cloud of smoke and steam and sparks from the power, I'm sure.
Now, they say this intersection of Hillcrest Ave and Belmont Drive for the next 48 hours will be blocked off until the investigation is complete. We don't know the name of the pilot killed today, but the coroner says until the first of kin is known and notified, that's when they'll release to us. So again, if you're driving in this area, you're going to want to avoid this, because until this investigation is complete, the plane, its engines, its wheels, even part of it still in that tree, will remain here once it's over. But if you're watching at home, we'll have more updates throughout the day and everything that was caught throughout the afternoon.
Really just a devastating scene to have to see. We know so many residents and people in that area heard it, they saw the aftermath. Thankfully, no one else was hurt, but of course, a life was lost. So we are thinking of that pilot and their family. And thank you for following this, Hallie. We know you'll stay out there to give us the latest. Local leaders reacting to this breaking news about the deadly plane crash. Well, at the National Day of Prayer, Mayor's Prayer Breakfast hosted by Miracle Making Ministries, Mayor Garnett Johnson saying in part, quote, "We are all in prayer for all impacted by this morning's plane crash near Daniel Village. May God comfort those who mourn and give them strength. You are in our thoughts and prayers." Congressman Rick Allen also commenting, saying, quote, "Robin and I are praying for all involved in this morning's heartbreaking plane crash near Daniel Field in Augusta, and thank the first responders who were on the scene so quickly." The plane crashed in the front yard of a home and went up in flames after taking off from Daniel Field. The coroner confirmed the pilot died, but said the identity will not be released at this time, and there were no other injuries. Augusta Fire Chief Antonio Burden spoke about how the situation could have turned into just a larger hazard if it were not for the actions of the pilot.
Very lucky. And we can only credit that pilot for that situation, for the wherewithal to not involve another structure.
Again, that plane went down in the front yard of a home. No homes were affected, no one on the ground injured, but again, that pilot did lose his life. And we're giving you just a live look, and you can just see pieces of the plane all over in that area. Piece of the plane right there in that tree. Reminder, the intersection of Hillcrest Avenue at Belmont Drive will be closed for the next 48 hours. An investigation conducted by the FAA and the NTSB will happen. So again, please avoid that area. We'll continue to track this story throughout midday and throughout this afternoon. We're back after a short break. We're taking you back out live to Hillcrest Avenue in Augusta, where emergency crews are on the scene of a deadly plane crash. That's where our Hallie Turner has been all morning. Hallie, bring us up to speed.
Yes, Anna, so I got out here just a little bit a little bit after 8 o'clock this morning. Now, what we know is that the plane crashed at about 7:10. Authorities were called around 7:14, and when we got out here, the flames have been put out, but everyone on the street, Georgia Power is reporting there's 58 outages in this area. They don't know when it's going to be back on, but I'm going to step out of frame real quick and kind of show you what we've got going on. So just below this crime scene tape is the tip and the nose of the plane with propellers. It appears like it came down from a diagonal. The plane is resting in someone's yard right over here on Hillcrest Avenue. Now, the fire department tells us this will not be removed until FAA and the NTSB has done their investigation, which could be days. They don't really know a timeline, but they know for right now, for the next 48 hours, this entire area will be blocked off. Again, when I got out here this morning, there were neighbors and passerbyers standing out here everywhere. Some neighbors heard it. Some neighbors thought some people were breaking into their homes, and others say that they really didn't know what was going on. But one lady I talked to told me, she's like, when I woke up with when I was waking my child up, he got dressed as fast as he could, and she was like, I kept hearing this noise get closer and closer and closer, and the unthinkable happened. And when she finally got outside, the entire area right here was engulfed in flames, and fire crews were out here blocking off the road, trying to get the fire out. They were here earlier getting all of the fuel off the road with sandbags and water and all of that. We know that one person is deceased. The coroner hasn't released his name yet and won't until the next of kin has been notified. So for right now, that's what we have. We'll continue to update you throughout the day, but it's quiet out here. Other than a couple of planes in the area flying to and from Daniel Field, it's really quiet.
Really just a devastating scene to have to see, and just see that plane right there in the front of someone's yard. Again, no homes affected, no one on the ground hurt, but that pilot did lose their life. We're waiting to get that identity once the family has been notified. Thank you for continuing to follow this, Hallie. Do not go to that area. Just a reminder, Hillcrest Avenue and Belmont Drive are currently closed off. And as of right now, they're saying for 48 hours, but again, it could be more depending on how that investigation goes. Thanks for joining us. We're going to have much more coverage of this deadly plane crash online and on air, so you can continue to follow this on WRDW.com. We'll continue to bring you the latest, so be sure to stick with Channel 12. We're always on your side with the latest. Thanks for joining us this midday.